Conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, so Tisha B'Av is our national day of mourning, and that includes the destruction of the temples, that includes the Crusades, that includes the pogroms, it includes everything. And actually, on Tisha B'Av, we say the different keynote lamentations, and we have those that were composed for the Crusades and those which were composed for the Holocaust, right? And actually, the past couple of years, we actually said a keynote lamentation that was composed for October 7th and what happened. So, we view it as Tisha B'Av is the religious day for that. Israel, the state of Israel, also established Yom HaShoah as Holocaust Remembrance Day, right? And that will be my second, the second day that I would use, right? The United Nations established January 26th, 27th as International Holocaust Memorial Day. And I can't expect the city of Irvine to go with my Tisha B'Av or with Israel's Holocaust Day. So I'm appreciative that they did this, and that's why I was asked to come. So I wanted to, if the Jewish community doesn't come forward and show that it's important, then we can't really expect the non-Jewish community to recognize it. Hence my tardiness. But I stay for the picture, for the presentation, for the picture, and then
I wish I didn't know I would have gone too.
Okay.
Is this for important?
Yes, you're important.
I mean, I don't like rabbis.
No, I mean it's for everyone to come. I don't know if you would have gotten to the picture.
No, that I don't mind.
That I can't guarantee.
That I don't want to be in the picture at the moment. I extend in different directions.
Yeah,
So
No, I did my hair in advance to make sure that everything would be okay. Yeah.
Nowadays, just looking at my picture gives me a bad mood, so I don't take pictures.
All right. Let us continue over here with our personal grooming, okay, as we are working our way through. Okay, a lot of these things we've touched upon already as we've gone through the different malachot, but let's go through. Page 243. One may not wash the whole body or most of it with warm water. Now, the warm water, right? Well, I can wash part of the body with warm water. That's with the caveat that what warm water am I using? Huh? Water that was warmed before Shabbos, good. And my taking any water out of whatever it's contained in is not being replenished by cold water, which would then be cooked, right? Which goes back to not using our hot water, the faucets on Shabbos, unless you are part of a large apartment building where you have tens of apartments all drawing from the same system, in which case your turning on the water is not, there's always water going out and water going in. So you're turning on the tap is not causing cold water to be going in. It's constantly happening. But in a private home, or I think over here in San Joaquin, right, where you've got maybe probably two or maybe four, I don't know if they might have their own, right? So there, that would be an issue. But even if you have hot water that was warmed in advance, so one can use that to wash. Now, what my father-in-law does is before Shabbos, he closes off the hot water boiler, whatever it is, so no cold water will go in. And that can be dangerous, okay? Because if you drain it, then it can be very dangerous because it's heating up and there's not enough water to be heating up in there. That can be dangerous. But as long as one is careful, that's why it's not advisable to do that, but I can't tell my father-in-law, he's 98 years old, can I know her? So he's, he's made it this far. He's not going to listen to me, right? But that would be something that one can do. The same way when I was living in New York, and come Friday night to washing your hands for the meal, and the water is freezing because it's all going underground, right? And the water is freezing. So we would take some water from the hot water urn, right? And put it into the washing cup and then add the cold water. Not nearly enough hot water that we were cooking the cold water. So that would not be an issue, but that would take out the sting of washing your hands for amotzi in the East Coast winters, right? And that's okay since whatever you're taking out is not being replenished. Over here we have our cold water system, whatever that is. Is that a problem on Shabbos, taking out cold water? Correct, it's not a problem. Why is it not a problem? You're not cooking it. So make things cold is okay. When I'm taking out the cold water, so now there's warm water or room temperature water going into the system, which could activate the compressor to start making it cold. Why is that not a problem?
Because you didn't turn on the heat.
Correct, but I can't turn on a compressor either, right? The heat is a separate problem of cooking, right? And that's and that is the problem. Here, the problem is not the water getting cold. The problem is my activating the compressor. Let me ask you another question. Can you open your refrigerator on Shabbos?
Yes.
You do? Yes. Don't worry. Yes, you can open your. Nervous. Sorry. Yes, you can open your refrigerator on Shabbos, right? Why is that okay? If it gets too hot in there, what's going to happen? The compressor is going to kick on and raise the temperature and lower the temperature in the refrigerator. So why is it okay to open your refrigerator door on Shabbos? Okay, and it's not a psik ratio. What's a psik ratio? Come on, guys, chop off the head and the bird's going to die. Didn't we do it in this class?
It's like something if it happens, like if you do it, it's going to happen.
Good. An automatic, albeit unintentional result, right? Psik ratio literally means you take off the head of the bird. Why taking off the head of the bird? So your kid has something to play with. What else would you do with the head of a bird? But being that you can't kill a bird, I don't want to kill the bird. I just want my kid to have something to play with. Yeah, but psik resha, if you take off the head, is it not going to die? It certainly is going to die. So it's an automatic, even though it's unintended consequence. That is a problem. But over here, when you open the fridge door, most of the time the compressor doesn't go on. There are people who will be strict to only open the refrigerator when they hear the compressor is on already, because that's already then like the water in the large apartment buildings that you're taking water, isn't sending water to get cooked, and you're opening the refrigerator, cannot turn on the compressor, it's on already. Normative halacha does not require that, and you can open your refrigerator doors with reckless abandon. Okay, you don't have to worry, right? If it goes on, it goes on. Usually does. Why is that okay? Because usually it does not go on, and therefore it's not a psik resha. It's not an automatic result, and that's not a problem. Okay, so you can't wash the whole body or most of it with warm water. You can wash part of your body, right? Water that was warm before Shabbos may be used to wash the face, hands, and feet. But if the water was warmed on Shabbos, it may not be used at all. Okay, now that's interesting. If the water went from being cold to being warmed on Shabbos, that is a problem. It was cooked on Shabbos. We don't get benefit from things that were cooked on Shabbos. But let's say, typically when you have your hot water urn, okay, and you have it on your Shabbos mode, so what happens, right? No cold water goes in, so it's not a problem using that for your coffee or your tea. But what does happen is it does turn on when it starts to cool off in there, right? If the water gets not hot enough, so then it will automatically turn on and heat the water. So why isn't that a problem? Not really, Tamar. Like Tamar. Not really, Tamar, because the refrigerator, right? Remember, when it comes to cooking, the problem is cooking. When it comes to the refrigerator, the problem is a side problem that it might turn on the motor. But here the problem is cooking. So when it gets hot, when it starts to cool off and the heating element kicks on, isn't that cooking on Shabbos? Why not? Thank you. It didn't get cold. And we know we have the rule, ein bishul achar bishul. Once something is cooked, it's not going to cook again. We say that absolute when we're dealing with what type of foods? Solid, right? When we're dealing with liquids, we say yesh bishul achar bishul. Ein mean there is no cooking achar after cooking. That's by solids. By liquids, we hold yesh. There is cooking after cooking, but that's only if the liquid is cold. But as long as the liquid is at least somewhat warm, then there's no cooking after cooking. So therefore, I didn't activate it. That comes back. It's not a psik ratio, like you said, Tamar. It's not a psik ratio, right? And it's not cooking because it's already cooked. So it's not what the heating, it getting heated up, right? The hot water urn doesn't wait till it's cold and then kick on, right? It's supposed to be, I don't know, 120 degrees. When it gets down to 90 or 100, that's when it kicks on, whatever it is. It's still plenty warm. So therefore, the fact that it's kicking on at a certain point is not a psik resha. I take out some water, it's not going to activate that, and it's not considered cooking on Shabbos. After washing on Shabbos, one must take care not to squeeze out wet hair. Okay? That goes into the schita issue. Okay, down below, washing one's own body in warm water forbidden. Water that was warmed on Shabbos forbidden. Water that was warmed for Shabbos, but not one's face, hands, and feet. Squeezing the water from one's hair is forbidden. I'm not sure why the candles are out over there. Whatever. Okay, good.
Do you know why it's forbidden? Because I thought, going into Hashem's house or going into community, you have to be smell good and
Okay.
nicely.
Okay. So therefore, right, certainly one is supposed to, before Shabbat, to bathe, shower in preparation for Shabbat, right? And one washing hands, face, all that is fine on Shabbat. Washing the whole body, the issue I believe is that you might come to warm things up or come to schita. I'm not sure, but we don't shower on Shabbos or Yom Tov. If a person is an istanis is a person who is very, very sensitive, very finicky, right? So then there are allowances to shower, right? Again, as long as the water, as long as one, right? For example, on a woman goes to mikvah Friday night, right? So she will do all the preparations before Shabbat, right? But typically do that at home. But yes, Natalie, I'm pretty sure when she goes to mikvah Friday night, she will do a quick shower and then go into the mikvah, I believe. Yeah. Okay. So there, when it's for a mitzvah, one could do it, or if one is, needs that for being an istanis, if I get a little bit dirty, one is unable to. I'm sorry.
Bird baths.
Bird baths.
Yeah.
Meaning?
A rag and you kind of
Tamar, you have to domesticate this guy.
I guess I have a question. I don't know when I talked about washing your face. So it's fine to wash your face, but not use it for clothes? I guess that's what we were wondering, washing your face on Friday night, because you want to look nice for Friday night dinner.
Okay.
But most women don't sleep in makeup. I guess I wasn't sure in terms of taking off your makeup. Soap is fine, but the makeup wipe isn't. When makeup toilet is fine.
But then they're
Or do we have to?
spreading, like smearing. It's not so much the spreading.
Let's go to the boss.
The erasing. That is more of the issue, and that would be more like the eyeliner,
Mm-hmm.
not so much like, because that's actual writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was the putting on like blush and.
I know.
eyeshadow.
We're discussing makeup removal,
No.
washing one's face Friday night.
Removing it.
Could I put you on speaker and can you handle this?
The rest of it, not so much. It's just that it's the-
Okay, just one second. I'm putting you on speaker so you can take the questions and answer them. Okay? Tamar.
Hi.
Hi.
I love her name in your phone.
What's
Oh.
the question?
We're
He's
just,
blushing, blushing now.
we are just discussing, well, we were talking about bathing on Shabbat and how you are able to wash your hands and wash your face on Friday night. But I guess what me and Raquel were a little bit confused about is if you have like eyeliner on or lip liner or something, is that considered erasing? And can you use a makeup wipe to take it off, or face wash or something like that, or not?
I think, like, as long as it's a liquid face wash, you can wash your face.
But not like the Neutrogena wipes, like the.
But using wipes, probably not.
I think you might be able to, as long as you. I mean, you can't squeeze anything out of it. But
As long as you dab.
I actually I don't really use that on Shabbos. So I can't say. Yeah, I don't know because I don't use it.
But a face wash would be fine.
But a face wash, liquid soap would be
Face
fine.
wash, liquid face wash you can use. Yeah.
If it's like a cream type of a face wash, then no.
Yeah, you can't-
Right.
There's no lotion after, there's no lotion.
Right, but no
It would
cream.
just
Yeah.
be clean.
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
putting it
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nat.
You're welcome.
Okay. Good night. I'll see you soon. Okay.
You were saying if you have an obsession with cleanliness, you can.
A person who has an obsession with cleanliness, well, look, on Shabbos it's going to be very hard. It's going to be an ice cold shower, right? So it really will become relevant on a Yom Tov, right? Why on a Yom Tov would it be? Why on a Yom Tov is it less of an issue?
Because you can do certain things like
Like what?
Use warm water.
Use warm water,
yeah.
right? On Yom Tov I could use the warm water. Cold water is going into the boiler and getting cooked. Cooking is cool. Cooking is fine on Yom Tov, right? That and carrying are the major differences that we have between Shabbos and Yom Tov. So really, someone who's really obsessed with cleanliness, right? So then on Yom Tov, that person would be able to shower, but would need to do it. Be careful drying off, not to do any squeezing out, right?
It's not on Yom Kippur.
Not in Yom Kippur, correct? Absolutely not. Yom Kippur is stricter than Shabbos when it comes to washing. Yom Kippur will only wash until the knuckles, etc., right? Yeah, but again, if a woman needs to go to the mikvah on Friday night, so she will go and dry herself off. If a man goes, there's some men who go to the mikvah daily. So if a man goes to the mikvah daily, he'll also be going on Shabbos. And also be careful in terms of how he dries himself off afterwards. Okay. Washing with cold water, swimming in the sea, or in a pool. One may wash one's body with cold water on Shabbos, but halachic authorities write that the custom is to avoid doing so, lest one come to squeeze water from one's hair. Swimming or bathing in the sea or in a swimming pool is prohibited on Shabbos. Okay. Now, the reason and reasons given for that are pretty shaky. Okay. I don't swim on Shabbos, and normative halacha is not to swim on Shabbos. There are those who do swim on Shabbos in a swimming pool because, right, the issues the Gemara brings are often related to splash. Sorry? Yeah, ringing, you have to be careful with that, but splashing, that's going to then water grass, things like that. But if you don't have that around, right, the Gemara raises, there are a number of issues that are raised. Many of them are really not so relevant. Nevertheless, the standard is not to swim on Shabbos, but there are Shabbat observant people who do swim on Shabbos, being careful, right? Again, without plants around, without those things around, and without ringing, without, and all that. So if you come across that, right, it's not that, oh my gosh, right, these people are breaking Shabbos, these people are following a more lenient approach. But again, the standard, the normative approach is not to swim on Shabbos. Let's put it like that. Okay. Cutting hair, combing hair, shaving, prohibited on Shabbos to cut, shave, or pluck out hair, even when the act is done manually, without the help of an instrument. It is prohibited to comb one's hair on Shabbos in the same manner as one does on weekdays. The reason being that when you're combing your hair, there'll be some knots and you'll pull out those hair. One may only lightly brush the hair with a soft brush, which does not pull out hairs. A special brush of this kind should be set aside for use on Shabbos only. I'm not sure why it needs to be set aside for Shabbos only.
Does it apply to your pets?
Separating.
Sorry?
Does it apply to your
You
pets?
would not be grooming your pets on Shabbos.
No.
Yeah, that definitely does apply to that. I'm not sure why it needs to be set aside for use on Shabbos only. If I'm always using a soft brush, I don't know. I'm not sure why he says that. I'm sure there's a reason, but it's not coming to mind. One may not braid or unbraid hair on Shabbos, whether one does it by hand or with the help of a comb. Similarly, one may not curl hair on Shabbos. One may make a part in the hair only by hand, but not with a comb or brush. Okay. Cutting nails, okay, that we understand. Fingernails, toenails may not be cut on Shabbos, whether by nail clippers or by biting them off, right? Biting off is not the best way of doing it. This applies as well to pieces of skin around the nails, right? Also sometimes around our mouth, we have some stuff, I'm very tempted to just, right? Not supposed to do that. Prohibited to apply color to the face, lip, eyes, or nails, right? There is the 7 day shine, right? So there is a cosmetics line that is acceptable for Shabbos. Basically, it's mostly powders, I think. Yeah, I may see it around the house.
So wait, you can use them on Saturday morning?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You can?
Wait, so you just have to be careful on how you apply. So what I've done is I purchased my own, it's a separate brush set that I use for Shabbos, right? I don't use it any other day of the week.
Why is that?
Because I don't want it to get mixed with something that's not Shabbos appropriate. Like if it's still in the brush, right?
Oh, I see.
It's just separate. But the big thing is to not blend things together because you're not supposed to blend. And it needs to.
So you have to choose your color and go with it.
Well, or you can use two and just be creative.
But why?
Not really creative because on Shabbos you're not supposed to create. Think about it ahead of time. Plan first. No, but when you put it on, just you're not blending stuff in together.
Wait, why is it that this brand line is okay?
It's not creams or anything. It's not. It's just.
You can use
It's just a powder.
There are Shabbat approved.
Yeah.
It's not only this brand, there's other brands too.
I get 10%.
Yeah.
Right.
They also have lipstick.
I'm like,
mascara.
who owns
They
this
have-
brand?
It's lip powder. And they have like a lip, I think it's like an oil, but it's not ointment. It's like they have like a what is it called in the kitchen when you have the person overseas?
Mashgiach.
Yeah, it's like a mashgiach for makeup. Like this one, like these different.
You shared that before
Rabbi,
with us, right?
but why does it
Well, I
say
don't
it's
know.
prohibited to apply color to the face, lips, and eyes, but we can't, because the makeup is colored?
Yes, but
Is it because it's powdered?
yes,
Like-
I think we're
like
talking
color
about
the
that we
skin
are
or
actually
like drawing.
yeah,
It just says it's
drawing on.
prohibited to apply color.
But it's so it's saying like dyeing.
Well, isn't that what
If you were
makeup
to
is?
put- If you were to put like lipstick on your face, that's
Sorry?
dyeing your face, right? Or if you use something that's super pigmented, that's dyeing your face. So this type of makeup is not super pigmented. It's not, you're not drawing, you're just you're applying. It's different.
We need to do tutorial on that.
We can have makeup
Class, yeah, because
Wait, Robert, can I say something regarding the makeup thing?
Yeah.
You know how we have mentioned, like why we can't put face moisturizer because we're spreading it?
Because we're rubbing it in, really.
Okay.
Rubbing it in.
And then we asked Natalie about removing the makeup. Is it that you can remove the makeup because you're using a liquid?
Because
Is that the reason?
you're washing your face and what comes off is coming off.
Okay.
So I was at someone's house for Shabbos and they brought out like a oil that you can use on Shabbos, like to, like, I guess not moisturize your hands.
Oh, for the fingers
So-
after the meal?
No, just like I don't know. It was
She brought it up because somebody had like severely cracked, drying skin, and it was visibly irritated. And so she went and got an oil that she uses on Shabbos, and it's the way that you apply it too. It's like you're not going to put it on, lather it up, and do all this. It's you put it on,
Just
dab it,
dab it on, and then
leave
let
alone.
it do its thing. Yeah.
But it was something that was specifically it wasn't a heavy oil. It's an extremely light oil. It almost feels like water.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Okay. 247, taking medicine. There are times when taking medicine is prohibited, and there are times when it's permitted. These laws are very involved. The law may be given from one case to another. If medical treatment will be necessary on Shabbos, one should clarify with the Rav how to comply with instructions of the doctor in a way that's permitted on Shabbos. The next few pages will provide a general explanation concerning the various categories of illness as they apply on Shabbos. Of course, if a person's life is in danger, so then, right, everything, it gets dropped, and we take care of that person, whether it's driving them, calling an ambulance, whatever it might be, right? At that point, we don't try to get a kid to do it. We don't do any noise, right? We just take care and, okay.
how about for people who take blood pressure medication?
We're gonna
for
see all that right now.
antidepressant,
We're gonna see
that
all this
stuff?
right now. Okay? Pikuach nefesh 248, saving a life. When it's necessary to save human life, the laws of Shabbos are abrogated. This is true even where a doubt exists as to whether the person is in life in that situation. A safek, a doubt, pikuach nefesh, is up to each person to decide as honestly and realistically as one can if one is in an actual potential life-threatening situation that would mandate Shabbat transgression. There are additional situations where posts consider life-threatening. A comment, okay, where minimizing Shabbos will not obstruct or delay life-threatening measures, one should try avoid transgressing Shabbos. But if in any way it will obstruct or delay the life-saving measures, then that we have a category called a chassid shota. Chassid is a very, very righteous person who is a shota. What's a shota? With a tet. A fool, right? A foolish righteous person, right? The Gemara gives an example. A woman is drowning, and the man doesn't want to go save her because he doesn't want to touch a woman. That is an example we give of a chassid shota, of a person acting as a chassid, but he is a fool. Okay, so when it comes, right, if delaying is going to endanger that person, then one would be a chassid shota, a fool for doing that. Then we have a chola she'ein bo sakana. That's called sakana, danger. If there's danger, take care of it. Okay? Let's say an ill person who is not in danger. Okay? An ill person's life is not in danger, but who is confined to his bed or her bed or suffers pain that the entire body feels weak is called a chola she'ein bo sakana. He's a sick person, not life in danger, but this has the status of a chola. And that person could take medicine, whatever it might be, Tylenol, whatever it is a person needs to take, right? Advil, Motrin, whatever it is, the person could take what a person needs to take. Okay? A child until age 9 or 10, depending on his or her development, is considered in the category of a chola she'ein bo sakana. And therefore, to provide such a child with any of one's needs, one may do activity that would be permitted for an ill person who is not in danger. So a child has the din of a chola, of a sick person, she'ein bo sakana. He take care of the child's needs. In Israel, this came up very often. We had our heat system working in the winter, and very often when there would be rain and thunder and lightning, so then the whole house, the ground fault would shut the whole house down because of the surge that came because of the lightning. So now we're plunged into darkness. So typically, right, to tell have a non-Jew turn it on for you, right, is not so simple, right? People think, oh, just have a non-Jew do it. You're really not. You're not really. You're not supposed to get benefit from that which the non-Jew does for you. Colloquially known as the Shabbos guy, the guy who helps the Jewish family on Shabbos. For them to turn off a light is not a problem because they are not getting benefit from it. They've removed that. They've removed the bother, which is the light. But turning on the light, now I'm getting benefit from that light. There are situations where it can be done. One of the situations that it can be done is when you have a chola, sick person, right? Even without danger, or you have children up to age 8, 9, 10, because they are considered have this status of a chola. Okay. So that's if a person is ill. A minor ailment, page 250. A person who feels a minor ache, like a minor sore throat or a headache, is not permitted to take medicine. If it is so painful he has to lie down or his whole body feels weak, then he's considered a chola, albeit without danger, as explained, and he can take. But otherwise, let's say I have a cold, a lot of sneezing, some congestion, right? It's not that I'm going to stay in bed. So then I would not take that cold medicine on Shabbos. Now, what is the problem with taking medicine on Shabbos? And this is an interesting situation. This is a case where the reason that's given doesn't seem to apply. Right? It may be a similar thing when it comes to the swimming. It doesn't seem to apply. So therefore, forget it, right? Now you can take medicine. No. We say that, just like a parent, right? A parent might tell the child, don't do this, and give a reason. A reason does not mean that is the exclusive reason. That's the only reason. There might be other reasons. And therefore, the child can't say, well, this is why mom and dad said not to. Well, that's not the case anymore, so therefore I can. Similarly over here, the reason that's given for not taking medicine is shechikat smamanin, which is you will be grinding up different herbs. Because historically, certainly in ancient Babylon, that's how medicine was made. People who ground up herbs. I mean, no, we can't be tochein. That was one of our 39 malachot, is grinding up this plant, whatever it is. Now, how many of you have ever ground up your own medicine? None of us, right?
For sniff, yes.
I'm sorry?
For sniff, yes. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Now, sometimes one might grind up some medication for a child to take and put it on a spoon with some applesauce, But even that would not really be a problem because that was already ground up once. It was already, that was then formed into this tablet. So you are deconstructing, so we don't really have this issue. Nevertheless, this is viewed as one of those things that a reason was given, not necessarily the only reason that was given, and therefore we maintain this din and we do not take medication on Shabbos unless a person is a chola, unless a person is sick. And just a simple definition as he's given is sick means I would crawl into bed if I don't take this medicine, right? But if that's not the case, then one would not take medicine on Shabbos. Ava.
So can you take it to prevent the need to crawl into bed?
No. If at that point, you do it before Shabbos, but if at that point, right, you're not, if you don't need to crawl into bed, then you're not considered a chola, and then one would not take medication on Shabbos. Okay? Now, if one is taking steady medication, it needs to be taken on a daily basis, blood pressure medication, antidepressant, whatever it is. If a person, or antibiotics for sure, the person is taking set medication, then that person should continue to take their medication. If it's something that can be done, on Friday, if it's a once a day, and it can be done on Friday before Shabbos and on Shabbos and on Saturday after Shabbos, right? Nice. Matov Manaim. That's great. But if one can't, then one need not do that. Causing bleeding, forbidden to cause bleeding on Shabbos. One may not make a wound, even if the blood swells under the surface of the skin, does not come out. One may not press on a wound to cause it to bleed. Okay. Can one take out a splinter on Shabbos?
Yes.
Yes. Why?
I don't know.
What's the point of staying in pain? Like you're unable to serve Hashem.
Okay. So taking a splinter out, one is not doing an act of medicine. One is simply, it's a mechanical act of removal. Now, it happens sometimes that one bleeds when removing a splinter. Why is that not a problem?
You're removing bad from good, maybe.
No.
It's the splinter that caused the bleeding, not you removing.
Well, but my removing it caused the bleeding. That could happen.
Because that was not the intention.
That was not the intention, and it's not a psik resha. It's not an unavoidable, albeit unintentional consequence, right? It might bleed. Typically, it doesn't bleed. The first couple of layers of skin where a splinter is usually sitting is not, or there are no capillaries there, and it's not going to cause bleeding. Okay?
It would be the same if the mosquito bites you and it scratches and blood comes out.
So you shouldn't, in general, scratch mosquito bites, right? And if it's going to make bleeding, then there's an additional problem to scratch, right? So that one should not do. Okay? You can put on a Band-Aid on top to
stop the urge of scratching.
To stop the urge, yeah, to prevent. Okay. Baby care. Okay, 252. Normal baby care involves many activities such as washing, preparing, warming up food, likely to entail Shabbos transgressions. It's essential to learn how to correctly care for a baby on Shabbos. Books are available to explain these laws, which also provide practical advice. When using cotton balls on Shabbos, care must be taken not to squeeze liquid from them or spread liquid with them. Okay? A rabbin should be consulted regarding whether one may open and close the adhesive strip on disposable diapers. Okay, so I was saying normative halacha says one can use regular diapers. That's not going to be an issue. You don't want to squeeze out things. We mentioned over there warming up the food. Let's go to the pictures over there. So when you're washing the baby, right? So you're washing with your hand, right? So that's not going to be an issue. Using liquid soap, That's not going to be an issue. How about that water bottle? What might be a problem with that, and why is it not? And why would it not be a problem? Sorry? Okay. It could be like cooking, but if what I'm putting it into cannot become yad soledet bo, yad soledet bo literally means the hand will jerk back from the heat. Let's say about 110 degrees, right? So let's say I'm taking the bottle out from the refrigerator and I'm just going to put it into warm water. That's going to just basically bring it to room temperature, right? Or may make it a little bit warm. But the water that I'm putting it into is not yad soledet bo. So therefore, it cannot possibly become yad soledet bo. Not a problem of cooking. How about a problem of hatmana? Guys, remember hatmana, which is wrapping something, enclosing something, right? That we can't do that on Shabbos, even if it's not going to be adding heat, right? Right? But over there, it's not a problem. Remember, hatmana is only a problem if it is completely enclosed. Okay, that's why you can take a blanket or even those that say Shabbat on them, right, and put it on top of your blech or your hot plate to help contain the heat, to make things warm up faster, better, stay hotter. Right, that is okay because it's not completely enclosed. Here, the bottle is not completely enclosed. We also mentioned that if baby has a rash, you would not rub in the cream, but you would fill up that diaper, put it on, have him squirm around a little bit, and he's good to go, right?
But you're squeezing the diaper cream though. I thought
Correct.
That's not okay.
I can squeeze the cream.
Okay.
I can squeeze the cream. Yeah.
And then you can squeeze the toothpaste to brush your teeth as well.
Well, the problem is not the problem with toothpaste is not squeezing it out of the tube. The problem is turning that into a liquid when you start to brush your teeth.
So that's my brother. I imagine that it's not washed because it's already.
Right, right. In Israel, right, they have Tayadent, was that what it's called?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was a little. It's a liquid. It's a liquid toothpaste. Just 1 second. Hello. Okay, let me open. Are you at the gate? Okay, let me open the gate for you. Sure. Okay, now is it opening? Okay. When you go through, go straight, make a left past the building that you'll see on your left. Go straight again, you go past the tent, make another left, and you'll see parking over there, and you'll see a building in front of you that says 3900. Okay? Yeah. So make a left, then make another left, park and come into the building that is on the side of the tent. Yeah. Okay? Very good. Sure. Okay. Someone just make sure, please make sure that the door is not locked. The front door is not locked. That should be what's coming. Okay. Good. Let's just do a little bit more. Okay. Using electricity. Okay. 255. Right? That we know we can't do. On Shabbos, when we not turn our light on or off, even dim or increase its light. Neither may one turn on, regulate, or shut off electrical appliances, regardless of how they function, even if they run on batteries. This includes motor vehicles, telephones, instruments, appliances, run on gas, petroleum, oil, etc. Similarly, one may not activate or shut off a water heater or central heating system. Okay, so that seems pretty clear and elementary to us, right? That's one of the first no-nos that we run into. Okay, 256. Being careful of electrical appliances on Shabbos. Since the number of electrical appliances and electronic gadgets in daily use have been growing from year to year. Oh boy, right? And this is written a long time ago. And forget about it now. One must be careful not to accidentally make use of them on Shabbos. Instance, one must be careful not to pass through an automatic door which is activated when a person enters. Okay, so if you're going into a, let's say a person is visiting someone in the hospital, or you have people in the hospital, right? And it's all electric doors over there. So what you would want to do is wait till someone else is going in and then go in with them. Okay. Now, whenever we're walking in Irvine, we're crossing Michelson and Culver, smile, you're on candid camera. You're on camera. Okay? Right? Here in the shul, you're on camera. Right? For security reasons, right? We don't save it, and therefore it's not considered writing, and you have no intention for it. And you're walking along the streets, and there are motion sensor lights that are going on. You pass by your neighbor's house. If you have a motion censored light, then before Shabbos you want to turn it off, right, or do whatever it is that you need to do, right? That's what you can control. What you can control, you can control. If one is going to be concerned about all this, then one is never going to. You'll be staying in your house all Shabbos, and that's what we don't do. So therefore, even though it might be a psik reisha, right? Meaning, right, turning on these lights, or not you're turning on, activating these, right? It's a psik reisha, right? It's going to happen automatically. She'eno nechale, that you don't want it to happen, that you're not benefiting from it, and therefore we don't think about it, we don't worry about it, and we walk to shul, we walk to what we need to do on Shabbos, and not getting concerned about all that. Otherwise, we are immobilized. Many electrical appliances, like ovens, are regulated by thermostats. Not only must one avoid directly using these appliances, but one should be careful to avoid any act which may activate or shut off the operation of these appliances. Okay, right? Ovens, right? They mentioned ovens, they did not mention refrigerators. Why is that? Why are ovens a problem? Refrigerators not a problem?
You're not cooking something in the refrigerator.
Correct, but we're not talking about the cooking now. We're talking about activating. So why by oven is it a problem of activating, and by refrigerator is it not a problem of activating? Because of my favorite term known as psik reisha. When you open an oven, what happens immediately? The fire goes on. Why is that? Because the oven is about 350, the outside temperature is about 70, a disparity of 280 degrees. In order to maintain 350, it needs to kick on immediately. A refrigerator is running at about 35, 40 degrees, let's say, a disparity of 30 degrees to the outside temperature. Then when you open the door, it's not going to automatically kick on the condenser. It's not going to automatically activate. It's not a psik reisha, and therefore we are good to go. Okay, let's just do one more over here, 257. It is prohibited to wind up or set any kind of watch or clock. Okay. Pressing the buttons on a battery-operated digital electric clock, watch, absolutely prohibited. Or may not produce sounds by means of musical instruments, rattles, whistles, bells. Clapping hands may not be done unless one claps in an unusual way, hitting the back of the hand on the palm of the other, right? And that, right, so that all goes into the musical instruments, and that's all a rabbinic issue that one might come to fix them. Therefore, we don't do all of those things. When it comes to clapping, there are some people who are, very makpid not to, like that, right? But there are also those in the Orthodox world that will clap. So
How about wearing watches on Shabbos?
If it's a watch that it was a watch like this, right? This is it doesn't have to be analog, right? Meaning, as long as it's not getting activated by your moving it, right? There's some watches, right, that when you turn it, that's what causes it to light up. That's clearly going to be a problem. Those watches that are, the smart watches that are measuring everything, but that one does not wear on Shabbos, right? It's good to get just a simple watch, right? Right, it could be it's called analog with the face on it. It could also be a simple Casio that's a digital, but you're not doing anything on it, and it's always showing the time. That would not be a problem. There are those that say that in the absence of an Erev, one shouldn't wear a watch, is considered carrying. I would say normative halacha is one may wear a watch even in the absence of an Erev. One can't carry the watch, but one may wear the watch. We can understand anything that I'm wearing is not an issue. Am I wearing a watch? It's not like a garment, but again, normative halacha is that one could wear a watch even in the absence of an Erev.
So you can wear jewelry, like bracelet, all that stuff.
You could also wear jewelry
Yeah.
and bracelets. You absolutely
Can you technically wear like a key around?
Okay. So that comes. Can you just make sure that she made her way in, that she's okay? Okay. Yeah. So the woman that we opened the door. Okay, she's in. Okay. So that's interesting. When the Erev is down. When the Erev is down, so then a person is stuck. Oh no, I need the key. Oh, I've got a great idea. I'm going to wear my key. And they attach the key to the necklace. That's not really going to cut it, right?
Okay.
Because you're not wearing a key necklace. You're wearing a necklace, and the same way that that's carrying it around my neck. That's not wearing it. Now there are those. This gets a little bit complicated. There are those that will have a belt made, and the key is actually a part of the belt, right?
Ryan has that.
Okay. If the key is actually a functional part of the belt, then you're wearing it. Or the key tie clip. Okay. So then, right, it's actually serving a usage, and it's serving a purpose, right? And you might get, I don't know, you can get like the LA Lakers key, you can get all these things, so that can make it into more of an adornment.
What's the difference between that and putting in your pocket?
One is wearing and one is carrying, right? But if I'm just attaching it to my necklace, then that's just another form of carrying. That's not really wearing. Okay?
Rabbi, I have one,
Yes.
which is this past Shabbos, there was like something different for Kiddush where you were saying something and we all stood up. What was that? You were finishing the.
Oh.
What was that?
Yes. So what that was, so I had the yortzeit from my father. Yortzeit is the Hebrew day of passing of my father. And there is a good thing to do that on the yortzeit, if the child, the son, or a friend, whatever it is, makes what's called a siyum. A siyum is the completion of either a tractate, a section of the Talmud, or of Mishnah, right? So then when one completes that, one makes what's called a siyum, which is a completion, and there are certain supplications that follow that, and then a kaddish is said at the end. So that I made the siyum at the end when it's time for a kaddish. That's when everybody stood up, because typically when kaddish is being said, it's part of the davening. So we have kaddish as part of the davening. We also have kaddish that's said at a funeral. There's also kaddish that's said at a siyum. So everyone stood up for the kaddish. I made what's called a siyum. L'sayem is modern Hebrew for to complete, to finish. Okay. So on a yortzeit, it's a and also we've had it a number of times that you come to Shalosh Shudas very often, Sudah Shlishit, right? So often, right, that's where people make siyumim, and you notice there also everyone stands up at the very end of the siyum when the kaddish is being said. All righty, good.
Thank you.
Okay, friends.
Right, can I talk to you for like 2 seconds?
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Rabbi.
1, 2, 1.